I don't know who needs to hear this today, but if a man buys you dinner, you do not owe him your body or really anything afterwards. Because if a man thinks he owns you after buying a meal for you, that is not a man that lives in the 21st century. That is a man that thinks that the law of coverture from the Middle Ages still apply and that women are property once they marry. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Women aren't property anymore. They have careers, they own property, and they're smart enough to realize that you can have a man pay for your dinner and still make more money than him.
And if the lion's share of that money is going to pay off your soul-crushing debt, hate to break it to you, but...
Honey, you're broke!
Because it's not about the money, it's about the gesture, and a man who has a problem paying for the first few dates is gonna have...
Oh, shut up.
Sweetie, listen. If you want a man that lives in the 21st century, like you claim you do, men like that don't date broke women who can't cover their half of the bill. Drizzle, drizzle. And at the end of the day, you let Chad and Tyrone hit it for free, so yeah. Perfect example of Schrodinger's feminism. Strong and independent 21st century woman who makes more money than men until the bill comes and suddenly the oppressive ways of the 1950s patriarchy start looking very good to her.
Pathetic.
For the fellas, would you rather tell your feelings to a brick wall or to a woman?
These men absolutely cannot stop telling on themselves, and at this point I think it's kind of hilarious. Now I love this previous creator's response to this video because it's so true. But I'm going to say it out loud. The male loneliness epidemic that we're facing right now is almost entirely self-inflicted. Because yeah, just like this previous creator said, boys will do anything to avoid talking about their feelings. Especially women, who will give them the most honest feedback.
Are you sure about that?
Okay, girlies, let me give you a little hack. A little man hack, if you will. Men are really simple. That's something that we all can agree on. Men have very specific trigger and push points, if you will. You have to play into his push points to your advantage. What the hell do I mean by this? Let me break it down. By the way that he acts or speaks about a specific thing, something that pisses him off, something that makes him really happy, any of his insecurities that you can point out, use those and store them in the back of your mind. It can go one of two ways. You can either play into those to his advantage or to his disadvantage when you feel a little petty.
Just like a woman.
Yeah, maybe that's why men don't want to talk about their feelings to women. Or maybe we should try your method and cry about our fifis on TikTok.
I am so tired of feeling like it's never gonna be my turn to find love, and I know that someone out there knows what I mean right now. Like, I know I'm overreacting to this specific incident, but this is like the 4th time this has happened since I re-downloaded the dating app.
Pathetic.
You know what? I think I'll pass on that. Now run along. Me and the brick wall are gonna discuss geopolitics.
Dismissed.
It will throw away.
Dismissed!
Uh-oh, looks like Giselle's mad at Tom Brady again, this time for something different. Before I get into it, quick recap. Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen got divorced about 2 years ago. Giselle was then rumored to be dating her jiu-jitsu instructor Joaquim, and apparently they're not dating anymore, and Giselle blames Tom.
Just like a woman.
For those of you who didn't see the roast of Tom Brady, one of the most popular topics that the comedians joked about was Giselle's rumored affair with the jiu-jitsu instructor, and while Giselle didn't really like the jokes, apparently the jiu-jitsu instructor didn't like them either. According to a report, Joaquim did not like being in the spotlight and really did not like when people asked him if he was actually the reason that they divorced. A source said that Joaquim is just a regular guy and he does not like all the attention that he's getting. They added that Joaquim became part of the joke. People actually started asking him if he was the reason for their divorce. He hated that.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
The last time Joaquim and Giselle were seen together was April 26th at Giselle's home in Florida. While that's not that long, I wouldn't say it's looking too good.
You know, as a martial arts instructor myself, I get it. If you gotta teach a woman grappling techniques, you can't go as intense as you would with men, so you obviously take care not to hurt her, but since you gotta teach her something, you apply just a little bit of controlled pain so she understands how a rear naked choke works, for example. Now, what ends up happening in this situation is that the woman gets physically dominated, safely and consensually. And even if that interaction had no intimate connotation from your end, since you're a tall, good-looking dude who obviously has great body control, I speak from experience when I tell you most women get turned on by this. I actually rejected more dojo box than I said yes to. So again, I get why Giselle smashed the jiu-jitsu instructor. On the other hand, if you're a martial arts instructor, one would assume you also have a certain code of ethics or at least some common sense. And common sense would dictate that you do not eggplant the wife of the most beloved quarterback in America after she divorced him for a BS reason and expect no backlash.
In bird culture, this is considered a dick move.
So, if you're just a regular guy who doesn't want exposure, maybe don't bang a celebrity just to get an ego boost.
If Trump is successful in this next presidential election, I will not be having another baby.
Thank you, Jesus!
I'm currently a mother and desperately want to have another baby. However, since Republicans have politicized my uterus and reproductive health care, overturned Roe v. Wade, and made women's health and bodies part of their political agenda to be controlled, I do not think it is safe, even in California, even in blue states, to have a pregnancy in a Republican-controlled country.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more! Where the are your parents? Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!
You know, sweetie, even if Kamala Harris gets elected president, Roe v. Wade will remain overturned because a U.S. president legally has no jurisdiction over how the Supreme Court makes its rulings. Now, sure, a Democrat-controlled Congress could codify Roe v. Wade into federal law, but then it's no longer a voting issue for them, so yeah. But let me see if I get this straight. You desperately want to have another baby, but you refuse to give birth to another baby because the countrywide ruling that gave you the option to terminate your baby before birth has been overturned. And even though you live in California, where you absolutely have the option to terminate the baby that you so desperately want before he's even born, you refuse to have the baby that you so desperately want because you wouldn't have the same option in Idaho?
You're a damaged goods lady.
Sweetie, if the option to terminate a baby is more important to you than giving birth to a baby, maybe just don't.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.